Okay, so about a week ago, I told you guys on my YouTube, in my podcast, I told you guys because at that point nothing was made official. I told you that Kim D and David had parted ways, just based off of a comment that I've seen from Kim D under her own social media. So, anyways, now we're at the point where everything is out, everyone's talking about it, and Kim D has officially come out to say that she has parted ways with David. Still no statements from David though, but from what I understand, it's coming and he's going to release the truth only in his Patreon. So I'm not part of his Patreon. If, anyone wants to tell me what he says on there, that's great. I think that for something like that, he shouldn't, I don't know, like that's just my opinion. I don't think he should tell the truth behind the paywall. Like if you're telling the truth, if you're giving your opinion, if you want to share your events, like of things or how things happened or transpired, just be transparent and honest and just go and just make a statement. Like you don't have to hide behind a paywall. That's just my opinion, right? But what I want to say about that is it's funny because Kim D started, that little comment that I shared with you guys. I think I actually read it last week to you guys. She was saying, "Oh, me and David have parted ways, but we're still friends." Well, she kept on saying that to everyone. Like, there was a few comments, "We're still friends, we're still friends." And in my mind, I was thinking, yeah, that sounds like a little bit of BS, right? I don't think they're still friends, to be honest. But that's just like, an intuition that I had. No proof, no evidence of it. So then now things have like turned like really ugly and nasty. And you could tell that there's bad blood now because David wants to tell the truth about what has happened with Kim, but he wants to do it behind the paywall, just to his patron, like on the Patreon, right? He doesn't want to come and just say to all of us what happened between him and Kim. But I don't know for sure what happened, but I've been watching them because I don't really watch the podcast. Like, I know he has a lot of interesting guests and like very good celebrities that go on there. But if you've been listening to me for some time, I liked when Kim D was on the show as a villain, right? I always thought that she was like a great character on the show. I don't know her personally. I know she stirs the pot a lot, and I know she tends to just get herself in trouble and other people in trouble, but I thought that she was great TV. So I tuned in every Saturday to listen to Kim just talk and give her opinion. And most of the times I was just like, oh, I don't agree with everything that they say. They're mostly wrong when it comes to New Jersey, in my opinion, because for the longest time they were saying, oh, Margaret is going to be gone. Melissa is going to be gone. I know that Kim D wants to go back and say that she never said that. She did. She did at some point in time. Sorry, Kim, but you did. You did say it. You thought that it was Melissa's last season for sure, or Margaret. And you guys kind of went back and forth and changed your mind. Even the whole thing with the contracts, like the both of you up until recent, I don't even think they actually admitted that the contracts were up. They just said the entire time that, oh, it's the BravoCon contracts. Like, whoever you're believing is lying. They're not telling you the truth. But the truth is they were filming and you guys were still denying that the contracts were up, right? So anyways, I digress when it comes to the whole thing. But what I think is interesting is that now I saw in the comments that David is saying, oh, you guys are just like believing everything that you read online, and now he's taking legal action, and he's going to discuss that in the Patreon. But he's taking legal action because of all the lies that are being told about him. So if you guys have not followed yet, I'm just going to say Kim D. Ooh, this is so juicy. Kim D, first of all, she went on that podcast with the girls. It's so funny to me because she was last week, her and David released a video, and Kim D was addressing her friendship with Dolores. So then she said, me and Dolores is like, we're friends. So I don't understand what those girls from that podcast are talking about, because those girls have been kind of shading Kim D a little bit. They said a few times, right? oh, Kim D, she knows nothing. She really knows nothing. And then they officially said that Dolores would never threaten her position on the show to reveal anything to Kim D in particular because she could get in trouble with Bravo, right? And she said, one of the girls said that Kim D really didn't have any connection to the cast of New Jersey, and that yes, she's probably friendly with Dolores, but they're probably not close like that, right? So I'm assuming that Kim thought that it was ballsy of them to say that, to just go on and say that her and Dolores are not really friends and that she doesn't really have any connection to the show, especially the new cast, because those women were not really on the show when Kim was on, except for like maybe Margaret, but that was like for a hot second because that was like Kim D's last season anyway, right? But anyways, Kim D felt the need to explain herself in very harsh words. So she went on the pod and she said her and Dolores are friends, and she called those girls from that podcast, she called them wannabes. She actually said that. The girl said that David called them that. I don't know if he did in the Patreon. I'm just talking about YouTube. He just agreed with Kim D from what I saw in the clip. She called those girls wannabes. And she said that she thought that those girls were a joke. Okay, those are her words, not mine, right? So anyways, it kind of started a little bit of a social media feud, I guess, right? If you guys were checking Twitter, there's like a lot of back and forth, and the girls were like, oh my gosh, this, oh my gosh, that. Anyways, so then fast forward to yesterday, there's an announcement on Twitter saying that we have cleared the air with Kim. She was a lovely lady. All is good. And she'll be coming on the podcast next week. So I was thinking, oh, next week already? Wow, that was quick, right? But then they released the episode part 1 last night. So I listened to it, of course, right? And it's like about 35 minutes minus the like the ads. So maybe, I don't know, like 20 some minutes. So Kim starts talking, right? And Kim D says that she's the one who called the emergency podcast and she wanted to explain her side of the story. And, you know, the girls are definitely nicer to Kim because, you know, they probably know that Kim doesn't play. Like, she will rip your head off if you come too hard for her. So they were on their best behavior. But what's funny is that Kim started talking about David not paying her, right? Which was so surprising because I don't know, they've been doing this podcast for like a long time now, like definitely over a year, because there's even like, I think if I'm not mistaken, like I think there's even footage of them like from 2021. So that's like 2 years, right? Anyways, so Kim D said that the whole time that she was doing this podcast with David, she was not getting paid. He was not giving her any money. That's what she says. Okay. I'm not accusing him of not doing that. I have not seen the statements. I have not seen the wire transfers. But according to Kim, she did not receive a dime from doing that podcast for, I don't know how long with David. But she did say that David agreed to pay her cleaning lady, you know, her weekly cleaning lady. So I don't know how much that cost every week, but, you know, if you check the pod, I think there's like different levels to subscribe. You can just go on Patreon, choose your creator, and there's level 1 or level 2, I think. And I think the base level is $20 and the other one is $28 American. So, you know, that's a lot of money nowadays, right? Like a month, like some people right now, they're probably like, oh, can I afford this? Can I, like, the content needs to probably be very good to charge this much, but I don't know. But it's weird to me that Kim D did not receive a dime from doing this podcast with David. And you know what's kind of funny? Kim D had the Teresa flex on that podcast. Like, seriously, she did. She was like, I'm not really good with social media, which I believe, right? Because we've seen her online, like when she was doing the Zoom, she was struggling at times. So that's fine, right? But I don't know. Like Kimmy doesn't really strike me as the type of person that wouldn't ask questions. She says all the time that she hangs out with the big boys and she has like connection to the street and the wise guys and that she consults with them about stuff. Like, does it make sense to you that Kim D would never ask David in 2 years, like, how much are you making from the Patreon? Like, can I ask you a question, friend? I wake up every day and I do this, like every week, and I do this podcast with you. I'm in my pajamas, right? We're in different time zones at times, which is really early for me. How much are you making? Because you're claiming on every single one of your shows that you're rich, that you're making money, that you're rolling with the big boys too. You got Uncle Bo as a friend now, that you you belong to, like, the Hamptons and all of that. Like, you know what I mean? It seems like you're rolling in cash. So where is my payment, right? Kim doesn't strike me as the type of person that wouldn't ask the question. So I find that I have to say, I'm not saying she's lying now, but I have to say that I thought that was a little bit suspicious of Kim not to ask that question sooner, or to be like, okay, at first I was your friend and I was willing to do it for free, like as a hobby. But now that you're asking me to investigate certain things, then maybe we need to start talking about compensation. And what I find kind of hard to believe as well is that a lot of the times when Kim would be on the podcast, she would say, I've been asking, like, I'm going to find out about that. And I'm not doing this to be like,